Hello, everybody, and welcome to Just Us once more. This is Chapter 17, Episode 17. It's, wow, this is amazing. And I'm really, really happy to have you with us. Keep joining us. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and give us a call. Today, I will first introduce you to my fellow hosts, Sandra Baskin.
Hello, everybody.
And Sandy Gulliver.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again.
And to our special guest that we have today is Phranque Wright, who we are going to introduce to you. He is not only a friend of mine, but he's somebody who I've also done a film for, which next weekend, we are on our way to the very first For Real festival in Green Bay. And nothing could possibly be more exciting in my life than looking forward to that and being amongst so many other people, or maybe not so many people, I don't really know, but I'm very, very, very excited about it. And I'm excited about our film that we have produced. And it's just, wow. It's wow. Okay, anyway, Dr. Phranque, as you would like to perhaps be called Dr. Phranque, I'm not sure.
Sure, whatever.
Okay. He is an acupuncturist. He's gone to school in Colorado for acupuncture and Oriental medicine, and also is a graduate from Oregon College of Oriental Medicine and the doctor of acupuncture and Oriental medicine. He's helped many people with many, many different conditions, and very, very good in his field and highly respected. And then as another part of his personality, I love it when we have split personalities. He started out as a magician as a kid and took a couple improv classes at Second City. And then he got hooked on the 48-hour project. And since then, he has written quite a few not small, but shorts. Nothing is small about him. He is also a whiz at editing, which is probably one of his most favorite things to do. And you will see, hopefully when you see the movie, you will see what kind of editing he has actually come up with, which is just fantastic. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to introduce you to Phranque Wright, and take it away.
Hi, I'm Phranque Wright.
Hey.
I'm everything she said I was and more.
Cool.
Okay, tell us a little more then. So when you split your personality, what I want to know is which one do you enjoy more? Or is that not a fair question? It's probably not a fair question, but I think everybody has two different lives or two different personas that they present, the one during the day and the one at night. And I must say that I find you you're a very charming man, and you really do know what you're doing, which is always very nice to be part of. But acupuncture by day, and he also is chief of the roller derby, which I think is just absolutely fantastic.
I'm not their chief. I'm the official acupuncturist.
Official
I'm a sponsor. Yeah, I'm a service sponsor.
Is it as brutal as it used to be?
It's not what it was in the 70s, which was more of a WWF of roller derby. It's now it's a sanctioned sport. It's the fastest growing team sport in the world. So there's like 300 leagues all over the world, and a new league is popping up in different cities, different areas, different countries. It's sanctioned by the team that I work with, the Chicago Outfit Roller Derby League. They're sanctioned by the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, WFTDA. So they're not on a bank track; they're on a flat track. Yeah. And I think some bank tracking is making a bit of a return in different areas, but from what I understand, there's insurance issues involving that type of a track, and it's got a big thick rule book So, and they've got the referees and the calls and the, and the points, but it's a great sport. It saves lives. It gives people the sense of identity, a sense of community. It gives them something to do.
I have
Question.
a question.
Yes.
Do you know Carrie Franczak?
Yeah, Franzarelli.
Yeah,
good friend of mine. Yeah.
She's very close to my family, my daughter, and she and my daughter went to high school, graduated together. And I have watched her posts on Facebook, and roller derby has just like taken over her happy level.
Yeah. She, her husband, and her children.
Her two girls are just hysterical. Anyway,
they're at the games. Yeah. And
I'm sure.
But to answer Daryl's question earlier, there's doctor mode, teacher mode.
Oh yeah.
And entertainer mode. And I think the one that weaves them together is the entertainment mode. So as an entertainer, I've become a better teacher. And as an entertainer, I tell anybody who is in theater in any aspect, learn improvisation. Because improvisation is not comedy. Improvisation is an acting technique.
True.
And it has more rules than any other acting technique.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are trained in improvisation, you are basically trained how to do anything in life at any time. Because the number one rule, everybody says, it's yes and, the yes and aspect. What that entails is being in the moment, understanding what is going on in the situation, and working with it to move it forward, to come to a resolution in the end. And that's the essence of teaching, and that's the essence of healthcare, is to be present with the student, to know what they know and do not know, to guide them forward to understanding, and to be present with a patient to understand what is their differential diagnosis, what is leading to their disharmony in their health and life, and guiding them forward with that. So without my improvisational training, I wouldn't be any of these.
Wow.
Can I ask you, what sort of thing would bring a person to an acupuncturist?
Oh boy, ton of stuff.
Anything you would go to the doctor for.
Mm-hmm.
That's my simple short answer. Anything you would go to the doctor for. So absent infectious diseases, absent life-threatening emergencies, immediate life-threatening emergencies, absent dental care, or that kind of work. But so I have worked on patients for colds, flus, allergies, menstrual disorders, sleep problems, pain. Pain is a big deal. So that's back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, tooth pain, vision problems, digestive issues, diverticulitis. I inadvertently helped a patient who had a spot in her vision. This is one of my famous stories. She had a spot in her vision. She was coming to me for chronic fatigue, and there was a spot that was in her vision. And I was, on a weekly basis working on this woman. And one day she said, the spot is gone from my vision. I see clearly now. And I was like, great. So we just kept working on the chronic fatigue. And then she went to her eye doctor, and the eye doctor said, you used to have a scar in your retina and the scar is gone. And she's like, oh, Frank got rid of that. So I didn't know she had a scar on her retina. But I was doing treatments that nourish and clear issues in the vision, in the eyes itself. And there was the result. So
Wow. No,
So
that-
you
that's
say
a
nothing,
famous story.
infectious diseases,
well,
but
infectious diseases, Western medicine is a better route. The immediate emergency stuff, like I will do what I can while I'm taking you to the hospital, or I'll call 911 and do what I can. But with the emergency medicine, you know, to go the Western medical route. And I tell people all the time too, if you have to go and get surgery done, if you have to go and have something serious done, get it done and then come see me right away.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna work on the rebuilding and the healing process after the fact. So
what about
you know,
autoimmune diseases?
autoimmune diseases, I work on that. I work on, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, you know, there's an aspect of that with that, you know, and there's levels of success. Some I do better with than others, and some other people that do better things with. I do not work with infertility. I've done some help with infertility. There's people that specialize in that, so I'll send them to the people that specialize on that. I don't do weight loss with acupuncture because people are generally looking for the needles to be the magic bullet. And, you know, we're going to talk about diet and lifestyle. Yeah. And as soon as I say, well, we're going to talk about diet and lifestyle, like, forget it. So I do help people quit smoking though, and other addictions. I've helped people with sugar addictions and smoking and other such things.
Well, before the show, I Googled, does Medicare cover acupuncture? And it said only for back pain.
Oh my.
It also depends on where you are. California, there's a lot more that's covered.
Yeah.
The medical laws are governed by the individual states. You may or may not know that. You'll have a medical law in one state, a different state will have different medical laws, which is why I'm licensed in 5 states.
Yeah.
And back pain is one of the things that has been continuously tested and checked in the double blind placebo type exam. The closest you can get with acupuncture, you can't really have a double blind placebo with the needles. They're trying to figure out how to do that. And it's been tested against what they call sham acupuncture, which is a whole nother issue that I have issue with, because they say, well, we're not sticking them in the exact point where the book says the acupuncture point is. We're putting it at a different point, and yet it still works. So that means that you can stick the needles anywhere. But in the tradition of the medicine, we don't just have that channel that runs through what we call the meridians, what you see on the charts, the acupuncture charts. We have the main channel. We have a muscular tendinal channel that runs in the same trajectory but covers more area. So if you're not on exact point of the acupuncture meridian, you're still on point of the muscular tendinal channel. So we're still treating that channel. And we also have divergent channels and extraordinary channels. And then we have zone treatments that treat the rest of the body. So we have auricular acupuncture. So the entire human body is mapped onto the ear. So sometimes you go to an acupuncturist and they're sticking needles in the ear. That's treating the part of the body without needling that specific part of the body. And we even have tacks. So it's a very tiny, just the tip of the needle with a Band-Aid, and we stick it in so that it stays in you. You can spend the day having the needles in your ears, and you can stimulate them by just tapping on them. So you may notice football players or baseball players or other sports people or actors, if you see their ear and you might see a little Band-Aid thing in their ear, that's probably because they've gotten acupuncture. Just like you've seen Olympic people with cupping marks on the backs from the suction.
And you do that too, right? Cupping?
I do cupping. I do moxibustion, which is burning a mugwort onto the needles or onto the body. Gua sha, which is a scraping technique. I do offer food therapy. So foods that are used from the Chinese medical point of view of how to balance the situation you have. Food to me is the first medicine I give. So there's food, herbs, which are a little bit more potent types of food, and then pharmaceuticals are like the strongest because they're focused on like a single active ingredient that's working on that. So the backwards of that is people are like, well, I want to get off my medication. I was like, well, there's some medications you shouldn't get off of. And there's some medications that while I treat you, you're not going to need it as much. And that's why I want you to stay in communication with your doctor. So as I'm treating you, they test you and they're like, like your blood pressure medication for one. So it's like, you have high blood pressure and you're taking your blood pressure medication to bring it down to more normal. I'm treating you and then your blood pressure starts to go too low. You don't stop coming to see me. You just lower the medication.
Yeah.
And that was something my father, when I was living in Colorado, he was here. He went to get a treatment. His MD put him on blood pressure medication. And my father was thinking the medication he got was for the cold that he had. Oh. So he stopped taking it when he got over the cold. And he was getting acupuncture treatments from another practitioner. And then at his next appointment, his MD is like, oh, your blood pressure medication is doing fine. I'm going to keep you on. He's like, what blood pressure medication? And the doctor's like, you're not taking it? And he's like, no. He goes, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm getting acupuncture. So he's like, oh, well, here's a prescription. Keep getting acupuncture. So.
Oh, that's a great story. I have a question back to the eyes.
Yes.
You said you do something that has to do with eyes. Does macular degeneration fall into that category?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's it's like I said,
you had some,
there's no guarantee, medicine is never a guarantee.
No.
But I can treat, from the Chinese medical point of view, we have this idea that the liver as an organ is responsible for what we call the liver blood, which deals with menstrual flow and sexual function in the sexual organs. It also nourishes the tendons, which keeps us flexible, and nourishes the eyes directly. So all of the organs have a body tissue, a sense organ, its organ, and another pair, and it also has a color, odor, sound, emotion, which is part of our diagnosis. And it deals with one of or a few of the vital substances that we have in Chinese medicine: qi, blood, body fluids, essence, and shen, which is like the spirit. And they all deal with psychological, emotional aspects too. So the liver is where we house our anger, which is actually our determination to stand up, be ourselves, and move forward in our life. And anger is when that gets blocked, when somebody tells you you can't be who you want to be, or you can't do what you want to do. And this kind of builds up, but I gotta be somebody, I gotta do something. And that comes out as a shout and an activity. So in treating somebody's liver, we can help treat the menstrual cycles, we can help treat the fertility, we can help, and then the flexibility in the mindset of, if I can't go in this forward motion, I can still move side to side, which correlates to the tendons and my ability to be flexible mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so if somebody is having a psychological mindset or an emotional mindset, that will reflect in the physical body, and the physical body can also affect the mental or emotional mindset. So that's where we say that we are treating somebody mind, body, and spirit. We're treating their physical body, but also how they see life and how they act in life and how they respond to life.
Wow, I think we're going to go over today. What do you think, ladies?
Yeah, I think so too.
That was our 15 minutes. I can't believe that happened so fast.
It's amazing.
Well, Yeah, when you got an interesting topic
No
for a long,
kidding.
long time.
So,
All right, I have two questions.
Yeah,
First of
good.
all, where do you get um your medication from? Your
The
Oriental?
needles, the
I'm sorry?
needles, the herbs, the needles or the herbs or what?
No, the herbs.
So the herbs, personally, I'm not so much of an herbalist anymore.
Okay.
I used to have a 250 ingredient pharmacy when I was in Colorado. And when I was in Colorado, I used the raw herbs, which means it was the actual plant, flower, leaf, bark, root. And there was a supply store in Denver's version of Chinatown. That was the South Sheridan Road, I believe it was. And I would go down there on my scooter, and I'd have my ingredient list that I learned to write down the Chinese characters so that they could read better. And then I was a little bit more accepted in, as like part of their Chinese community. And then when I moved back to Chicago, by then I had been more of a practitioner of what's called the 5-element model of Chinese medicine, which deals with the psycho-emotional roots towards the disease patterns. And that's more needling and moxa. So I didn't herb so much, but when I do use herbal things, I tend to just visit the Little Vietnam area, Argyle and Broadway, in Vinh Hoa. Lynn runs the clinic there at Vinh Hoa. Or I'll order from one of the supply companies online. There's a whole bunch of herbal companies, Chinese herbal companies that are established and respected and tested. They've got it's not FDA approved, but it's got all the safety protocols in the making of them, and they test the quality of the individual ingredients and whatnot. So
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have a way to deal with getting somebody's metabolism started?
Again, it's we have to translate all of the Western medical terminology to Chinese medical terminology and differential diagnosis. So yes is the short answer, and it depends is the real answer. It's because it's a culmination of how is your body functioning. Is there a psychological component that's altering it? Is your lifestyle choices a benefit or a deterrent to leading on this path? Excuse me. And how well your body will respond to the change, and then of course your own physical genetics, which with Chinese medicine, there's an aspect of what we call essence. The essence is what your parents gave you, and that's your life unfolding into what it is, and that's in your cards or it's not in your cards. That's the essence will form that or will not form that. So
Daryl, you had a second question too.
Daryl,
I actually wanted to change to the other persona that I know.
Oh, sure.
Which is the writer, the director, and the editor in you.
Sure.
I know you have a few movies that are available on Amazon Prime, which is just fantastic. And I guess I just really want you to talk about that part, about how do you write a story and how do you then go about processing it and actually then making it come to life?
Okay, great questions. How do I write something? Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and I write that down. A lot of it comes from some sort of a personal experience. So if you go to Amazon Prime and you search my name in their search bar, 3 of my films will come up: Promises, Carl and the Chainsaw, and Edge of the Woods. So Edge of the Woods was written by a friend of mine. We spent one day in Wisconsin, filmed it, and we got what we got.
One day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Edge of Carl and the Chainsaw is, it's actually a date movie. The Edge of the Woods is the horror film. Carl and the Chainsaw is a date movie
I've heard of it.
with a roller derby girl in it. Carl and the Chainsaw came because I have a feature film that I want to make. And I talked to this girl. She was my prom date in high school. And I put on Facebook a long time ago that I finished writing a script. And she's like, well, I own a production company in California. I said, yeah, but I want it made in Chicago. She's like, well, of course you do. And so I asked her, I said, should I make a trailer, a fake trailer like the independent people do to try to promote the film? And she said, no, make a short movie, because that's like your business card, is the short movie. Yeah. But that will introduce it. So there's this, the feature film is called The Formula, Chinese herbal formula, that there's a man, he's cheating on his wife with this roller derby girl, but she's all in flashbacks in the feature film. So I thought, well, with the short, it'll be how these two met. So Carl and the Chainsaw is the derby girl. Her derby name is Chainsaw. So how he met her. And then, and I thought, well, I'll just do this date movie. And people that were helping me, they said, well, if you want to have it distributed, or if you want people to give you money for the feature film, you have to let them know that there's a lot of darkness in this feature film, because there's a lot of darkness in this feature film. So they're like, well, input some of the dark stuff into the short as well. So that's Carl and the Chainsaw. So if you watch Carl and the Chainsaw, you're going to be like, what? I want more. It's like, well, of course you want more, because there's a feature film that it's based on.
Oh, cool.
And something people don't realize is the end of Carl and the Chainsaw. The very next scene is the beginning of Carl and the Chainsaw. So it would start over from where he ended. People don't realize that, though. I guess I didn't really put that in there. And then the third one, Promises, is actually based on 2 actual events. So it's it's 2 real stories that I merged together to make the film. And how did I think to write that? I was at a film festival, Midwest Film Festival, at the after event. And, I was talking about, somebody was asking me about writing, and I said, it's like, well, this is a great story and this is a great story. And the woman looks at me, she's like, there's your movie right there.
Oh my. Oh.
And I said, you're right, there it is. And I can call it Promises. I just, the title came up right at that moment. And then I wake up in the night and think of, I'm with Daryl, was starring for me in, what's that one called? A Time for Love.
What's it called?
Time for Love, which I've got your poster. Hold on one second here.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's a very cool poster.
It's a great poster.
Right, so we've got this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I've seen that picture before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's posted on her page.
Yeah, this is yours, by the way. I still have to get this to you, Carol.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. So that one, it was sitting in my head. A lot of often when I'm doing a 48-hour film project, I think of different things that I can do for different genres, and then we have little writing practice sessions because when I worked in the 48 films, I gather a crew of people that I've never really known before.
Yeah.
And the group is called, Strangers Who Met in a Bar, was the first time I did it. And that's how I met Bob, who is also in the film with Daryl. And where I met Shantae, who wrote Edge of the Woods. And because the very first 48-hour project I was in is Sweet, and I recommend everybody watch Sweet. Go to YouTube, search Nothing Without a Company, Sweet. And I'm acting in that one. So I was lucky enough to just act in it. They called me in at 8:00, gave me my lines. A couple hours later, I was filmed, and then we did a couple extra scenes, and then I went home. And then I saw what they made out of that, and I was like, wow, this was made in 48 hours. So that's what got me hooked on this 48-hour film project.
Well, describe exactly what is a 48-hour
Sure.
film.
It's an international competition, and Chicago is one of the cities that participates, and it's a weekend event. So you sign up a team, and they can take up to, I think, 55 teams or 60. There's a limit because of how many films they can show when the showing time comes up, like they rent the theater for that. So on Friday at 7 p.m., a representative from every team goes to the headquarters, and you draw 2 genres out of a hat. So you pick one card and it has 2 genres on it. And so your film must be made in one of those 2 or a combine of that. So if you get sci-fi and Western, you could do a Western sci-fi, a Western, or a sci-fi. Okay? But it has to fit one of those 2 genres. And they're pretty lax about how you fit into that. So you pull a genre out of a hat, that's that. Then by 7:30, they post on a overhead screen a character's name with an occupation, a line of dialogue, and a prop.
Right.
And all contestants, every single film you watch has to have that character with that occupation, has to have that line of dialogue somewhere, and has to have that prop somewhere. And yours has to be in one of your genres. Then Sunday by 7:30 p.m., you have to turn in a completed movie ready for an audience to see. It has to have locations signed off, appearance slip signed off, any music rights shown that they're legally yours, any materials, like if I had a poster in the back that, was a Paramount Studio poster, I have to show that I have permission to have that on there. And it has to be at least 4 minutes long, no longer than 8 minutes,
Right.
No longer than 7 minutes, and then you get an extra minute of credits at the end. And if you use blooper reels, you can put blooper reels at the end credits. But if the plot still goes through the credit reel, that has to still be within that 7-minute time frame.
Yeah.
And then about 2 weeks or so later, they show all the films in different blocks at Music Box Theater, and the audience votes for their 3 favorite films at their event for their selection. And if you didn't make your time frame, they'll still show your movie, and you can still win an audience award, but you can't win one of the major awards. So then they have a panel of judges that votes for best picture, best director, best acting, best use of prop, best use of line of dialogue. And then the best of Chicago, so the best film, then moves to Filmapalooza, and it competes with all of the films that have won in the country. Then whoever wins Filmapalooza goes to the Cannes Film Festival.
Right. Wow. Cool.
And Chicago has made it to the Cannes Film Festival twice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I have to poke in here and tell you the very first thing I did acting was a 48-hour film. So I'm going right along. I understand exactly everything you said. And we actually, when we were screened, won the audience award. It was called Mommy. The very first thing, yeah.
Excellent.
But it's
Excellent.
something to get a whole group of people together, and in 48 hours, you have to do everything. Come up with the script, yeah, well, as you said.
Yeah.
It's
And I
quite,
tell, it's another thing I tell students, film students, they're like, well, how do I get experience? I say, do a 48.
yep.
Because you're going to learn everything to do wrong, and you're going to learn how to fix all your problems, and you know, all of the frustrations that, you know, it doesn't get any better or worse than competing in a 48.
It's really something, and you're right. For experience, it's an excellent start, and then continue on if you choose. Yeah,
Yeah. you can
Well,
do
when
it.
is the next one?
I think it just wasn't it?
So next
We
year?
had one. We had one in what was it? August.
Oh,
So I this year I was at the Midwest Film Festival, and they were doing their outdoor events at the drive-in,
Yeah.
and I met a film student there and her cohort became my team.
Ah,
So it was these, you know, 20 somethings who, you know, I want to write and I want to act and I want to direct them. So it's like, okay, I'll pay the fee, and I'll be the team leader because I've done this, and handed out assignments, and we took the weekend, and we actually got 3 awards. We got 6 nominations.
yeah.
We got 3. The film is called Ghosted. I've got it on my Vimeo channel, but not on my YouTube channel.
Frank, usually
and-
once a year. Once a year.
Usually, yeah, it's once a year. And it's the 48-hour film project. So there's a lot of places that do a 48 thing, but the 48-hour film project is like the official
Mhm.
big one.
Get on
And
their
last
email
year,
list.
yeah,
Get on their
2020 was
email
the
list. Yeah. Sorry.
COVID year. So they did a virtual one.
Right.
So not all the cities got to compete, but they would combine regions. So they had like Northwest USA,
Yeah.
Southwest USA. Chicago was its own entity because we had so many contestants still in Chicago that it was its own entity. We didn't have to combine like with Wisconsin or Indiana or anybody.
okay.
We were our own thing.
Well, I think that they probably have a website that you can get on their
Yes.
mailing list, and that way, when it comes around again, you'd be sent notifications about how to get involved if you're interested in
That is true, Sandy. I'm on their mailing list ever since when that beginning one, and I get their stuff all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Usually August-ish
Summer.
or
Yeah.
October-ish.
Oh,
I do
yeah.
know that they have events too beforehand where you could all go and network, where
Yes.
filmmakers then can pick actors out. And I think that would be good in my project. And so, yeah, is that the sort of thing they'd also send you a notification for those events?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's how I got my first team. I went to a meet and greet.
Yes.
Same
And
here. That's exactly
everybody all
what
just came together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have collaboration with the SAG office, so you can hire a SAG actor, and they'll have the paperwork that allows them to work in your, so if you have a camera and sound and but you don't have the actors, you can pull them in.
Right.
Very interesting. I think I'll be taking more. I was in one, and same thing. Our film got the audience award.
Oh, cool.
I think that came in either too long, and so it was only eligible for the audience award. But that was one of the first ones. I mean, I don't know when they started in Chicago, but I think it was one of the first ones because it was the first time I ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So therefore, anything for me doing it.
That's right. Yeah, there was no gravity before Newton, so there's no
Absolutely.
Right.
Or apples.
or apples.
All right, I think that we better start wrapping this
Yeah, we
up.
better. Yeah,
And
I agree.
this is like all of our episodes, airs on Wednesday at noon, and then is on YouTube forever after. And you can find out about it by following our Facebook page, which is Just Us, with Sandra Baskin, Daryl Van Estelden, Sandy Gulliver. And it will be announced on our Instagram page, which is at @JustUs_talk show.
And Sandy, you have all the episodes.
All the episodes are included on the Facebook page. We have 16 before this, so you want to check out some of those too. And what else? All the Frank's information. Daryl?
I just wanted to give a shout out to the first life of Phranque Wright and talk about where you can indeed reach him, which his clinic is called Right to the Point, and it's at 4007 North Broadway.
Yeah.
We'll be including his information when we post. And as far as his other attributes,
Alan's.
The production company is called Fourth Row Center.
There we go.
I do have a fourthrowcenter.com website. I'm still working on it.
Number 4 or the word 4?
The word fourth, F-O-U-R-T-H.
Well, center. Okay, Sandra, you getting all this?
I am.
Because this will all be included under the link of this episode. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking.
I think I've got it all. Yeah. If I don't, Dr. Phranque.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to say he got his doctorate. Congratulations. And your Colorado people gave you lifetime membership, I read in your bio.
Yes, they did. Colorado Acupuncture Association.
I also read in your bio that you call yourself the relaxed professional. I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good.
We're good.
I know how to find him if I need more.
Well, good luck on the film festival.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, we won 3 awards for the one we're going to next weekend.
Already?
We have best song in a film, best overall soundtrack, and outstanding achievement in filmmaking.
Oh, nice. So are there more awards, or is that it? You're just going up there now?
That's all I know of. That's all.
Okay.
So we'll watch the shows. So if anybody wants to drive up to Wisconsin MLC Awards,
You're not going to put it on. We won't be able to watch it online. The award show.
I'm not sure. It's a live event, which is what I'm really excited about. If there is anything virtual that's going on with it, I'll let Daryl know.
Okay, good.
She can let you know.
Yeah, right.
Boy, I can't wait.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that.
Yep.
Till next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
It was our
Good to have
pleasure.
you. Bye. Bye, everybody.